Three, two, one.
Hello and welcome to week 4 of the NFL season. This is the Fantasy Football Happy Hour, and week 4 Sunday is actually underway. I'm checking it out right now, but the London game started at 9:30 Eastern time. So far, the Jaguars are up 7-0 over the Falcons. Big touchdown strike to Calvin Ridley. Hopefully, you got those lineups set. There's also a fun option. I checked that out for a few minutes. Wasn't really for me, but they put it in Toy Story Mania mode. You can watch them kind of playing in Woody's bedroom. It was a creative way. You know, we've seen the NFL do this with Nickelodeon games and now with a Toy Story game, kind of trying to attach to new audiences, which is fun. But this is the first of 3 weeks of London games, the first of back-to-back London games for the Jaguars. They are the home team today. They will be technically the road team against the Bills next Sunday. But if you enjoy fuller days of football, you can get that going right here. Well, I am going to jump in today. We'll be looking at briefly talking about Thursday Night Football. Then I will talk about some of the games of the week in the different windows today and tomorrow night, some sit starts. And then I'm adding a new feature this week. I will give you my picks against the spread. If you track me on the site, you can see my picks against my straight picks published every Thursday with the Thursday night preview when we do on the site, the Music City Drive-In. But I also do weekly picks against the spread. So far, I am 29-20 on the year going into this week, which is not too bad. Wasn't as great last year, but I will give you what my picks against the spread are every week going forward. We will do that at the end, and then we will do a quick look at the movie corner. But let's dive in with Thursday Night Football. It was a clash of NFC North rivals as the Detroit Lions traveled to Green Bay to battle the Packers. They came away with the 34-20 victory. Honestly, it wasn't even that close. It was 27-3 at the half. David Montgomery rushing for 121 yards, got 3 rushing touchdowns, coming back off injury, got 32 carries and 2 receptions. Kind of puts Jahmyr Gibbs a little bit on a back seat. If you are looking at it from a fantasy perspective, I'm kind of lowering my expectations for now. He's more of a flex play. They're really leaning into David Montgomery and the hammer. Another solid game for Sam Laporta and for Amon-Ra St. Brown. You're feeling good about all those assets. On the Green Bay side, they just have not been able to get much of a running game going. Aaron Jones had a big play in week 1, coming back in week 4. Really wasn't a big factor, but I am really liking Romeo Doubs. He's turning into a great possession receiver for them. Had 13 targets on Thursday night, caught 9 passes for 95 yards. Packers are now 2-2. They're still second place in the North. None of the other teams beyond Detroit and Green Bay even have wins, but Detroit 3-1, off to a good start. I thought they were going to have a good season, be a playoff contender. Nothing has changed my mind. Well, that was the Thursday night game. Let's look at the rest of the games on the Sunday slate. So, as I mentioned, the London game is going on right now, so you don't have to wait to watch football, but you might want to wait to finish the show to pop it in. Just saying. We do have 2, what I like to call Depression Bowl games. We have 4 0-3 teams in the NFL. They are all playing each other. Denver at Chicago and the Minnesota Vikings at the Carolina Panthers. All that is happening in the morning window, but that is not my game of the morning. The early window game of the week has to be the Miami Dolphins 3-0 at the 2-1 Buffalo Bills. Miami, fresh off a 70-point output against Denver. They have been undefeated. They are looking great. Buffalo had a little bit of a stumble on that opening Monday night. A lot of turnovers from Josh Allen cost them that game, but they subsequently blew out the Raiders and the Washington Commanders. I think this is going to be a heck of a game. This is actually my favorite game of the entire weekend. We get that in the morning window, unless you're like me living in the Denver area, and I will be watching the Broncos and the Bears. From myriad reasons. The afternoon slate, there's only 3 late window games again this week. couple of them not that great. I'm going to focus on New England 1-2 going into Dallas 2-1. New England got that first win of the year against the Jets last week. They always play teams tough. Dallas had a bit of a stumble in week 3, losing to the Cardinals after looking nearly unstoppable the first 2 weeks. Can they get back on track? They are back home. That should be a good clash. So that'll be a fun game to look forward to, Cowboys and the Patriots. The Sunday night football game, I wish it was more exciting. A lot of the talk has been about Taylor Swift going to be in attendance for this game as well. If you have the Sleeper app and you roster Travis Kelce, or you have a friend that does, you may want to look up his profile picture. A little bit of fun that Sleeper is having there. But this is the Kansas City Chiefs at the New York Jets. Can the Jets get any kind of offense going? As a fantasy player, I'm hoping they can at least commit a little bit more to the run, get Breece Hall going. He looked really good in week 1, which is how they were able to get the victory. They need to take some pressure off Zach Wilson's shoulders, especially since that Chiefs pass rush and that front end of the Chiefs defense is for real. Meanwhile, Patrick Mahomes, they'll have a little bit of a challenge going against the Jets defense, but the Chiefs come in 2-1, Jets are 1-2. I'm not thinking this can be particularly close. Monday night, we get the Seattle Seahawks at the New York Giants. Seahawks are 2-1. Giants are 1-2. Giants really need to get something going, get a little bit of a reset going. They really need to kind of get back into a groove. Saquon Barkley, now doubtful. That puts more pressure on Daniel Jones in the passing game. For the Seahawks, Ken Walker has looked incredible. He is just running at a good clip. They have a pretty decent passing game kind of going. This should be an interesting matchup. Only one Monday Night Football game this week, so that's great. And I think we get the Manning cast back. And I don't know about you, but I kind of enjoy that as a way to kind of ring out the evening. So that's a look at some of the games of the week. Now I'm going to give you my sit starts. All right. Well, my sit starts last week. If you've been tracking along, I finished 3-1 in my start record, 3-1 in my sit record. So doing pretty good. My quarterbacks this week, Russell Wilson is my start. I get it. The Broncos are 0-3. If you read the message boards from Broncos fans, apparently Wilson is solely to blame for all these losses. Apparently he single-handedly gave up the 70 points last week. Well, the thing is, he's actually playing pretty well. He's QB 9 on the season. Now they get the winless Bears, a team that does not have a very good defense. The Broncos have a lot of pressure to try to get win. I'm all in on Russell Wilson this week. On the flip side, I'm sitting Ryan Tannehill, and I know you probably weren't seeing him as a QB1 top 12 option anyway, but I'm here to say I don't even think Tannehill is a super flex consideration right now. He's been dreadful. He's had turnovers, inefficiency to the point that it seems like we're closing in on either the Malik Willis or Will Levis era, maybe even as soon as October. He's QB 29 on the season. He's averaging just 10 points a game. He's turning the ball over a lot. I am staying away. I hope that you will too. Let's turn to some backfield options. My start this week is Zach Moss. Jonathan Taylor, who? All right, well, maybe not that far, but Moss has really impressed as he stepped in the last 2 weeks for the Colts backfield. He's RB5. He's had at least 20 points in each game, and I expect him to keep that up against the Rams. This is the last week before they can technically activate Jonathan Taylor. So if you have Moss, you're firing him up as a start, and you're really leaning into him at least for the time being. My sit on the other side is a guy that was a bright spot for the Texans last year, and that was Dameon Pierce. CJ Stroud and the passing game are kind of coming along. The defense seems like it's getting better, but Pierce, he has struggled. He has just 100 yards and a touchdown on 40 carries total in 3 games. He's currently RB 28 on the season. Maybe he's in a deep flex for you, but he is not an RB start for me. Let's move and transition to take a look at wide receivers. And my start here, you might also say this is a little bit of a no-brainer, is Keenan Allen. 20 targets, 18 receptions, 215 yards, and 149-yard touchdown pass. That was Allen's line in week 3. In short, he is on fire. He's currently wide receiver 1 on the season. His lowest output of the year is it was 14 points, and that was week 1. He had 30 plus in week 2, 40 plus in week 3. Mike Williams is now out for the season. They won't have their running back, Austin Eckler, today. They are at home looking to get it over on the Raiders. going against Brian Hoyer. I expect some fireworks. Keenan Allen is in my lineup. My sit this week is Drake London. And of course, this is a game that's going on now. You may have already started him. Is he the Falcons' best receiver? Yes, but that doesn't mean he's getting a lot of volume. London had one good game out of 3, but he's suffering from a lot of the same issues as Kyle Pitts. There's not enough consistency in the passing game, not enough consistency in targets. I don't really see that changing in week 4 as they battle the Jaguars. I like London, but at best, he's maybe a flex start. He's currently sitting as wide receiver 60, and until something changes, I just don't see him as a top 24 option at the position. Let's move to tight ends. The Dallas Cowboys passing game and the allocation of targets was going to be something of a mystery coming into the season. We've seen the tight end be a big part of what the Cowboys are doing in the past couple of years, but of course they saw Dalton Schultz, who got the franchise tag last year, leave and head to the Houston Texans. He hasn't done a lot there either, but Jake Ferguson really stepping in at tight end. He's tight end 11 on the season. He has 19.9 points the last 2 weeks. I know that doesn't sound great, but a 10-point floor at a position like tight end is pretty nice. I'm as a low-end tight end 1. I'm throwing him in my lineup. He seems to be developing into a great security blanket for Dak, especially with the inconsistency we've seen with the other wide receivers. Lamb is great, but we haven't seen a real connection with Brandon Cooks or Michael Gallup. That's something consistent you can bank on. Jake Ferguson seems to be kind of stepping into at least a consistent role. The next, my sit is Hayden Hurst of the Carolina Panthers. He had a huge week 1, and I thought maybe he'd be a good outlet for Bryce Young and the Panthers, but really it's been Adam Thielen and the receivers that have taken over. Hurst has just 7.1 points total in the past 2 weeks. He's currently at tight end 14. I just don't think he is a reliable weekly start. So those are my sit starts for this week. I hope you enjoyed that. Now, before we head over to Movie Corner, I am going to go ahead and do my picks against the spread. As I mentioned, I'm 29-20 on the season. I did get the Thursday night game. I had Detroit minus 0.5 over the Green Bay Packers. For the game that's currently going on, I picked the Falcons plus 3.5. It's not looking great as they're down 10-0, but the Falcons have played everyone pretty close. So I thought they would be able to hang within a field goal of the Jaguars as well. We'll see how that shakes out. I have the Buffalo Bills minus 2.5 over the Dolphins. I think they will get the win, and I think it'll be by at least a field goal. I have the Broncos minus 3.5 over the Bears. Big battle in the AFC North, and that is the Ravens going in to battle the Cleveland Browns. The Browns are a little beat up. Deshaun Watson a little beat up. I took the Ravens plus 2.5. I think they can get the win. Bengals going to play the Titans. I took the Bengals minus 2.5. In the Rams-Colts battle, I actually think the Rams can get the win. I took the Rams plus 1.5. Another big division battle in the NFC South. The Buccaneers are going to battle the Saints. I took the Buccaneers plus 3.5. I think they can win, but I also think they'd keep it within at least a field goal. Washington Commanders coming off a tough loss go to battle with Philadelphia Eagles. I don't think it gets any better. I took the Eagles minus 8.5. Other battle of winless teams, the Vikings into battle of the Panthers. I took the Vikings minus 3.5. One of the more interesting games of the day, the Steelers are going in to travel the Houston Texans. Texans really clobbered the Jaguars last week. I took the Texans plus 3.5. I think they can get the outright win. Raiders without Jimmy G going into battle of the Chargers. I took the Chargers minus 5.5. The tough one for me, Patriots going into battle of the Cowboys. It's a big spread, but I think the Cowboys are going to bounce back. I took the Cowboys minus 6.5. Another big spread, the Arizona Cardinals, who've been playing pretty tough going into battle with 49ers. After the Cardinals beat the Cowboys, I think the 49ers will be on high alert. I took the 49ers minus 13.5. They've just been clocking everyone. A lot of big point spreads you'll see this week, which makes it a little bit tough, not projecting some of these games to be incredibly competitive. Sunday Night Football, Kansas City Chiefs at the New York Jets. I took the Chiefs minus 9.5. And then Monday Night Football, Seattle goes into New York. It's a really tight one. I took the Giants minus 1.5. I think the Giants will get the win, get a little bit back on rhythm. I think they need to do that if they want to make a playoff push again this year. So that is a look at my picks against the spread for week 4. If you're out there making some picks, hope you guys have a great week. Before I get out of here, I'm going to hit the movie corner real quick. We had a big week for releases. 3 different streamers have or sites have films that are out that I've seen. We also had a couple big theatrical releases. I'm going to be right up front. Saw franchise is not really my thing. I did not go to see Saw 10. If you enjoy those, I have seen that it's gotten some of the best reviews of the franchise. People are saying it's a real great cap to things. If you like that kind of thing, go and check it out. I did see the theatrical release, The Creator, which was kind of an original sci-fi film from Gareth Edwards and Chris Weitz. They teamed to write the script for Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Here, you get kind of a futuristic battle between humanity and AI. John David Washington takes the lead role. I thought he was very good in this. I love the world that Gareth Edwards created on the screen. The visuals were fantastic. The story at times was a little bit slow and a little bit underdeveloped, but some of the key emotional relationships worked. I really liked the third act. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. I think it's worth checking out. If you want to hear a little bit more of a discussion of that and our love for Rogue One, I'm assuming it's going to be love. It better be Eric. You can see Eric and I on This Week at the Movies, coming to you live at 7 Eastern. We will be talking about The Creator, and then we will be talking about Rogue One. Streaming films, Apple TV released Flora and Son, the latest from John Carney. He's known for doing kind of these dramas that fuse in music. We saw that with Once, Begin Again, Sing Street. I really enjoyed this. Eve Hewson is very great in the lead role. I enjoyed her dynamics with Joseph Gordon-Levitt. The music in here was really pretty. This was an emotional journey I wasn't totally expecting. I reviewed this on the site on Friday when it came out. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. Really had fun with it. I think that is one that is worth checking out. Netflix has had a huge week. We've seen Wes Anderson release 4 Roald Dahl shorts now. The best of them is Henry Sugar, which came out on Wednesday. I gave that 3.5 stars. I've enjoyed all of those. Those are worth checking out. They also had kind of a hard-bitten, darker edge crime drama with Benicio del Toro and Justin Timberlake called Reptile that opened on Friday. I saw that. It was okay. I gave it 2.5 stars. It was fine. The other one, Paramount Plus, has it streaming now. It's going to be on Showtime tonight. If you have either of those, that's Heist 88. Courtney B. Vance kind of leading the cast there. This is based on a true story, a time when banks used to transfer large international sums based on phone calls with access codes, which how could that possibly lead to a heist? How could that happen? But that becomes fodder for this little bit of a heist film. It was okay. It's not super long, but it wasn't incredible. I gave that 2 stars out of 5. So that's a little bit of a look at what is out now. I know I misjudged. I thought Ahsoka had 6 episodes, really has 8. So the finale is actually this week. If you've been enjoying that show, I've liked what I've seen with that. Looking forward to seeing the finale and seeing how it ends. But that'll be a wrap on this week. I will be back next week giving you info on week 5 of the NFL season. Hope you guys are hanging in there and have a wonderful week 4. And don't forget, football's on right now. Check it out.